They say classrooms are where respect is taught. But what if the teacher forgot the lesson? It was a crisp October morning in Atlanta, Georgia, 2023. The sun had just risen over Jefferson High School, casting a golden glow on the red brick building as hundreds of students rushed inside. It was just another Tuesday, or so everyone thought. Inside room 212, Mr. Donovan, a white male teacher in his late 40s, was scribbling a complex calculus problem on the chalkboard. His students shuffled into their seats, still half asleep, scrolling through TikTok or whispering about weekend plans. On the board, the problem loomed large. Int 3x was 2 plus 2x, 5, dx. All right, class, Mr. Donovan said, turning dramatically with chalk dust on his sleeves. Today we're tackling integrals. This one's simple, if you've actually been paying attention. Laughter rippled through the room. Donovan was known for sarcasm, but what he did next would turn that sarcasm into shame. The door creaked open. In walked Marcus Brown, the school's janitor, carrying a mop and a small bucket. He wasn't there to make a scene, just to clean up a spilled juice box near the back row. But the next 5 minutes would make the entire school question what respect really means. Marcus had been working at Jefferson High for 12 years. He was a tall man in his early 50s, always dressed in a neat blue uniform with a school badge pinned to the chest. His deep voice carried warmth, and his smile could brighten even the gloomiest hallway. Students loved him. He called them by name, asked about their sports games, even reminded them to drink water during finals week. Many didn't know this, but Marcus sometimes helped struggling kids with basic math during lunch breaks. He'd sit in the cafeteria, quietly solving fractions on napkins for kids who were too shy to ask teachers for help. But on this day, Marcus wasn't thinking about math. He was thinking about finishing his shift before the lunch bell. He bent down to clean the sticky red puddle near the back row when Mr. Donovan's voice cut through the classroom. "Well, well, Marcus," Donovan said with a smirk, tapping the chalkboard with the eraser. "Since you're here, why don't you solve this calculus problem for us? Or is that too much for a mop expert?" The room exploded in laughter. Phones were discreetly lifted, cameras recording. Students slapped desks, some hiding their faces in their hoodies to laugh harder. "Yo, this is gonna be on TikTok," one boy whispered, holding back tears of laughter. Marcus froze. His hands tightened around the mop handle. For a second, he thought about walking out, pretending he didn't hear. But then he looked at Mr. Donovan, the smug smile, the folded arms, the silent expectation that Marcus would be embarrassed and humiliated in front of these kids. Marcus slowly placed the mop against the wall. The laughter softened as curiosity began to replace mockery. He walked toward the chalkboard, his heavy boots clicking softly against the tiled floor. The only sound in the room was the faint hum of the fluorescent lights. He picked up the chalk. The laughter stopped. Phones kept recording, but no one dared speak. Marcus stared at the problem for half a second, then his hand began to move. Smoothly, confidently, as if the answer had been living in his mind all along. Int 3 plus 2x 5 dx x 3 plus 8 2 5x plus c. He wrote it in one continuous motion, dust sprinkling down the board. When he finished, he placed the chalk neatly on the tray and turned around. "That's your answer, Mr. Donovan." For a full 5 seconds, no one said a word. You could have heard a pin drop. A girl in the second row whispered, "Wait, that was perfect." A boy near the window muttered, "Yo, did he just do that from memory?" Marcus smiled gently. "I have a degree in mathematics from Morehouse College," he said calmly. "Life took some turns, but my education didn't vanish." Gasps filled the room. Even the kids who laughed the loudest were staring at him like they were seeing him for the first time. Mr. Donovan's face turned pale. His smirk evaporated, replaced by something like shame. He stammered, "Marcus, I didn't mean—" "It's fine," Marcus interrupted softly. "But let this be a reminder. Never judge a person by the job they do." Marcus walked out, picked up his mop, and continued down the hallway as if nothing happened. But inside that classroom, everything had changed. The students who once laughed now sat in stunned silence. Some felt guilty. Others felt inspired. And Mr. Donovan? He couldn't meet anyone's eyes for the rest of the period. By lunchtime, the video had gone viral on TikTok, 3 million views in under 6 hours. The caption read, "Janitor schools teacher in calculus." The comments poured in. "That man is a legend. Put some respect on his name. Degrees don't disappear just because life happens." A week later, Marcus was offered an opportunity by the principal. "Would you consider leading an after-school math tutoring program? The students requested it." Marcus smiled. "I'd love to." From that day on, every Tuesday and Thursday, room 212 was packed. Not with laughter at someone's expense, but with students eager to learn from the man they once underestimated. Message: racism and classism often hide behind jokes. But behind every person is a story, a talent, a history. When we judge based on color or occupation, we don't just disrespect them. We rob ourselves of learning something incredible. If you believe respect has no color, share this story and comment "respect for all" below. Together we can make schools safer, kinder, and fairer for everyone. He built the bank from the ground up. He signed the paychecks, he created the policies, he believed in fairness above everything else. He was the man everyone in the company looked up to. The visionary who turned a small local bank into a nationwide financial powerhouse. But when he walked into one of his own branches as just another customer, none of that mattered. What began as a simple withdrawal turned into an embarrassing confrontation, and a lesson this branch would never forget. It was a warm Thursday afternoon in Charlotte, North Carolina. The July sun poured through the glass windows of Atlantic Trust Bank, casting sharp reflections on the polished marble floor. Outside, the streets buzzed with the sounds of summer traffic. Inside, the branch was alive with the lunchtime rush, customers lined up, conversations humming, printers whirring. Atlantic Trust Bank wasn't just any bank. It was a financial giant boasting more than 300 branches across the country, a brand known for trust, prestige, and efficiency. And at the very top of this empire stood Adam Carter, 48 years old, sharp, calculated, a man who had spent decades building not just a company, but a legacy. Adam was the chief executive officer, the man who signed the million-dollar deals, the man whose decisions shaped the future of thousands of employees. But today, Adam wasn't the CEO sitting in a corner office overlooking the skyline. He wasn't surrounded by assistants, security, or cameras. He was just another man in line at a branch he had personally inaugurated 5 years ago. His mission was simple: withdraw $10,000 in cash for a private business deal later that evening. Nothing unusual, nothing suspicious. A transaction he had done countless times before. He dressed plainly, deliberately. A crisp white dress shirt, clean and pressed. Dark jeans. A simple navy baseball cap pulled low. No designer watch. No expensive shoes. No signs of status or wealth. Just Adam Carter, the man behind the empire, blending into the crowd. Finally, after nearly 15 minutes in line, his turn came. He stepped up to the counter, placed his hands gently on the cool surface, and greeted the young teller with a polite smile. "Hi there," Adam said in a calm, friendly tone. "I'd like to withdraw $10,000, please." The teller, a young man named Jake, probably no older than 24, froze for just a second. His eyes flicked from Adam's face to the computer screen. Something about the amount made him uneasy. Sure thing, sir. Do you have 2 forms of ID?" Adam nodded without hesitation. He reached into his wallet and produced his driver's license and debit card, sliding them across the counter. Jake picked them up, examined them briefly, then stared at the screen again. He frowned slightly. "Sorry, sir, I'm going to need to call my manager." Adam's eyebrow arched slightly. There was no irritation in his expression, no flash of ego. Just a calm, steady patience. "Of course," he said simply. A few seconds later, the manager walked out from the back office. His name was Brandon, a man in his mid-30s with neatly combed hair, a stiff posture, and the kind of overconfidence that comes from authority unchecked. He approached the counter with narrowed eyes, scanning Adam from head to toe like a security scanner. "What seems to be the issue?" Brandon asked Jake, ignoring Adam completely. "Customer wants to withdraw $10,000, Jake replied, his voice cautious. "Name's Adam Carter." Brandon's head turned sharply toward Adam. His eyes dropped to the IDs on the counter, then back to Adam. "This doesn't look right," Brandon said flatly. "10,000 is a lot of money. Do you even have an account here?" Adam looked him dead in the eye and replied calmly, "Yes, I do." Brandon crossed his arms, his tone dripping with skepticism. "Well, it's policy. You need additional verification for amounts over 5,000. Do you have proof of income? A recent statement? Something to confirm this?" Adam's polite smile began to fade. His jaw tightened ever so slightly. His voice, however, remained calm, steady, even authoritative. "I don't have a statement on me, but if you check your system, you'll see the account is under my name, Adam Carter." And then, Brandon laughed, a short, dismissive chuckle. "Adam Carter, as in our CEO?" Jake blinked, his mouth slightly open. He looked at Adam again, this time with surprise, as if trying to reconcile the ordinary man in front of him with the name on the card. Adam didn't flinch. "Yes." Brandon smirked. He actually smirked. "Sir, let's not play games. I've met the CEO, and you're not him." Before Adam could respond, Brandon gave a small signal to the back. A moment later, 2 security guards appeared. Big, broad-shouldered, their black uniforms giving them an almost intimidating presence. They moved forward with slow, deliberate steps, ready to escort Adam out of the branch like a common criminal. The entire bank seemed to stop. Conversations died mid-sentence. Phones came out, recording. Customers whispered to each other. What did he do? Is he trying to scam them? Looks like trouble. Adam Carter, the CEO of Atlantic Trust Bank, stood in the middle of his own branch, being treated like a fraud. He didn't argue. He didn't shout. Instead, he calmly reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, and unlocked it with his thumb. With one tap, he opened a secure executive app, a system only top-level executives had access to, a system Brandon had probably only heard of but never seen. Adam turned the screen toward Brandon. On it was his official CEO profile, his name, his position, complete with company credentials and biometric verification. His voice was calm, cold, unshakable. "Would you like me to schedule a video call with the board right now? Or should I call HR and let them know how you treated the man who signs your paycheck?" The effect was immediate. Brandon's face drained of color. Jake gasped audibly. One of the security guards actually took a step back. Adam didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. His presence filled the room like a storm about to break. "You had one job, serve the customer. Instead, you profiled me. You humiliated me, and you assumed that someone who looks like me doesn't belong." By now, every person in the branch knew the truth. The whisper stopped. The phones lowered. Silence spread like wildfire. Brandon opened his mouth, stammering. "Sir, I'm so sorry." Adam held up his hand, a gesture that froze the man in place. "Save it," Adam said coldly. "You just gave me something more valuable than cash, proof that bias runs deeper than policy." He completed the withdrawal without another word. Then he walked out, calm, composed, leaving Brandon trembling and the entire staff in stunned silence. That night, Adam called an emergency leadership meeting. The next morning, every employee across 300 branches received mandatory anti-bias and discrimination training. The manager terminated the teller, retrained, and later thanked Adam for opening his eyes. Adam's final words to the leadership team echoed through the company like a commandment. Racism, classism, prejudice, they hide behind words like policy and procedure. But the truth? They're choices. Choices we can change. If you believe respect has no color and no job title, share this story. Comment below, respect for all. Let's make bias a thing of the past.